Shouty Show time. We haven't done it in a little bit here. It is time for the Shouty Shows. Let's get to it.
Stephen A., is the GOAT debate officially over?
It's officially over. There's nothing to talk about. It's officially.
And nothing you can do.
No, I'm not saying there's nothing you can do,
Okay.
but we can look years down the road.
Yeah,
We're talking about right now in the moment.
Okay.
We ain't going to be talking about this right now.
Yeah.
We ain't going to be talking about this next
Yeah.
year. Let me just throw out these stats for you to get right here. This is Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl 3-2 record, 65% completion, 265 yards, all right, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, a passer rating of 86.9, okay, even though he's won 3 Super Bowl MVPs. You're talking about Tom Brady with a 7-3 record. His record speaks for itself, 5-time Super Bowl MVP, all of that stuff. We got to bring Joe Montana back into this conversation because of what we witnessed yesterday. Joe Montana, 4-0. 68% completions, 285.5 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, not a single interception ever, okay? A 127.8 passer rating, and he's also a 3-time Super Bowl MVP. So again, the fact that after this Super Bowl, it's one thing to be talking about Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. After this Super Bowl, we talk about Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Montana. Montana's been back added to the conversation, okay?
What?
like this performance by Mahomes was so bad it's reminded him that Joe Montana is also potentially the greatest player to ever play the game. Like that's all right.
So there's the problems with all of this stuff. First off, the only reason why people are doing the tear down on Mahomes GOAT stuff is because everybody was building it up, right? Well, if he wins this one, this is it. He's better than Brady. If they built it up probably prematurely. So now because they built it up, now the game was terrible. It's like, well, then you have to say, well, he missed an opportunity there and say, well, he can never be the GOAT and this and that, which all of it's just ridiculous stuff. But the idea of so what happened there was they merely were going, well, let's just look at Brady's Super Bowl stats versus Mahomes Super Bowl stats, of which Brady has an incredible advantage. But Mahomes has the advantage in other metrics, obviously. So, but that's what Stephen A., that was his reasoning there. It's like, well, we're just looking at Super Bowl stats. Well, Montana has the best Super Bowl stats. He's never thrown a pick. Now, I know Stephen A. remembers the fourth quarter dropped interception that would have ended the game probably for the Niners. Bad drop against the Bengals. I'm sure he remembers that for Montana.
Doesn't count.
But he had to bring Montana back into this because we're just looking at Super Bowl stats, and Montana has the best Super Bowl stats. Of course, it's only 4 games instead of 10 or 5 or whatever. It's fine.
I mean, the whole thing is an idiotic exercise from the outset. Like, you can't compare a guy's full career against where a guy's career is up until this point, because we have no idea what's going to happen from there until the end of it, right? Like, Brady is currently the greatest of all time because the guy played until he was 45 years old, and the second half of it was at least as important as the first half in terms of determining where he lands overall. Like, the thing really that separates Brady from Joe Montana is the second half of his career, right? Yes. Joe Montana got old and busted by the age of 37 because he was playing in an era where defensive linemen could annihilate him and toss him into a concrete floor, whereas Brady was playing in an era where if you get breathed on too heavy, it's a penalty, right? That has a huge impact. So Brady was able to play to 45 and string together 7 more years of elite play that Montana never had a chance at because the dude can barely walk around anymore because he got destroyed. So you can't be like Mahomes right now. I mean, who knows? He could play 10 more years of spectacular football and wrap up the GOAT discussion by the end of the thing, and it's easy. Or we may have seen the best of Mahomes already, and actually he regresses and he plays 10 more years of slightly above average football and never achieves what he did for the first few years of his career. Absent knowing, it's a ridiculous debate. This is always the problem with if this guy retired right now, would he be in the Hall of Fame? Well, maybe, but if he doesn't retire right now and then play 7 more years of crappy football, he has a worse case than he did if he just quit now, right? Or if he got injured and knocked out of the game. Like if Terrell Davis had actually played 7 more years of football, but they'd 800 yards and he'd looked plodding and terrible, his Hall of Fame candidacy is worse than if we just wrap it up with a fairy tale peak and, injuries knocked him out of the game and we can at least pretend that he would have been amazing had he kept going for more and more years. So the exercise is always absurd to try and compare an incomplete part of one guy's career versus a complete part of of somebody else's career.
Yeah, I mean, I know Mahomes, his pace, because a lot of people are like, well, Mahomes' pace versus Brady. But like you said, Brady's best work was probably ages 35 through 45,
Right.
including Super Bowls, including stats, and it wasn't just like empty calorie longevity. It was like elite quarterback play, right? He was in his 40s beating Mahomes Chiefs. So that's the part that's always going to be tough to replicate. Yeah, you could say Mahomes is on pace to be up there with Brady, but yeah. I mean, there's still like a long way to go. You're right. Long way to go with Mahomes, but also it's going to be really tough to do what Brady did in his 30s and again into his 40s. So anyway, it's good. It's good Shouty Show overreaction stuff though. Debate's over. Bring Montana back in.
Yeah.
All right. I think we have more. Let's go.
I know you're going to say Mahomes, Allen, Lamar,
Burrow,
and Burrow, right? Those are your four that are in question. Is that right? I'm going to push back on that. Why are they untouchable?
because they're elite.
Josh Allen, what's elite about Josh Allen? He put up Aaron Rodgers numbers this
He
past
just
year.
won league MVP. Josh Allen is an elite quarterback.
Agreed.
What are we talking about?
Josh
Like,
Allen
it's-
Josh Allen couldn't beat Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts just did.
This is good recency bias. This is really good.
What's elite about Josh Allen? Like those are words that came out of a guy's mouth who's getting paid to analyze football.
Here are two statements that I believe are true, and why the QB rankings and GOAT stuff and all that stuff is just funny. I believe if you're ranking the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, I would put Patrick Mahomes at number one. I also believe that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have played better football than Mahomes over whatever last time period you would want to put them. 2 years, maybe 3 years. I know Mahomes was good in 22, great in 22. So I think Allen's been better than Mahomes over the last 3, 4, whatever. Pick a time period over the last couple of years, but Allen has been better than Mahomes. Even though I think Mahomes, you would say, is the best quarterback in the NFL. Like the guy you would pick to have the best performance going forward. Both things true.
Everything about that argument is just asinine and idiotic. I mean, whether or not you agree with it, whether or not you were one that voted for Mahomes or voted for Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson, the guy literally won MVP like a week ago, right?
Right.
So this guy, a week after Josh Allen was named the most valuable player in the NFL, is asking what is elite about Josh Allen. Like, that's just dense. Like, that's to not even have that awareness that you're asking that question days after the guy was named by a voting panel of 50 people as the best player effectively in the NFL. You're like, why? He didn't beat him. What are we talking about? Like, that's just stupid.
James in the chat says we should listen to some Boston radio stations. I mean, I was on last week. I was on with Felger and Maz last week. And
You are Boston radio.
I am Boston radio here, but I assume Felger and Maz had some good reactions coming out. I'd love to know what they had there. Jalen Hurts. I mean, there's some fun Jalen Hurts takes too. I mean, it was just like when Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl. Joe Flacco's elite, right? It's like you don't have to be a top 5 quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Hurts has played great in the game. He's outplayed Mahomes twice in the Super Bowl. Like, those things are kind of true. They're true, but it doesn't mean he has to like jump 17 spots in the rankings. Hurts is a good quarterback with a great football team in Philadelphia, right? That's why the defense was the bigger story coming out of that game. And Hurts, I think Hurts was fine deserving MVP. Like, he had the Devontae Smith throw still happened. It still happened when the game was theoretically, it was 27-0, but like, you just got to make sure that still happened.
Look,
he still scrambled extremely well. He still made that throw to AJ Brown that got negated. Hurts was fantastic. Doesn't mean we have to like put him in Burrow and Allen categories.
Hurts has played some of his best games in the Super Bowls that he's been in. That is a thing that happened and is worthy of at least noting and giving him credit for. Particularly, I mean, the Hurts story, like his redemptive arc is insane. The guy got benched in the national championship game in college. That's the kind of thing that ends careers. Like, you don't bounce back from that. You are written off on the national stage as we had to take you off the field to put the next guy in because you were going to lose us this game. That was like a public declaration by his own team in college. He had to transfer away. He had to rebuild himself at Oklahoma. He gets drafted. He turns Carson Wentz fell apart just because he arrived in the building. He wins that job. He gets to a Super Bowl. He's a part of losing that Super Bowl with a catastrophic fumble. And he comes back from all of that and has a great game and beats a team that was a game away from a three-peat in the biggest game. Like, incredible redemption story for Jalen Hurts. But we don't need to go crazy and be like, well, now that he's beaten Mahomes, by the transitive properties we talked about before, he's now the best quarterback in the NFL because he just beat the best quarterback in the NFL. That's how this works, right? If we entertain that idiotic argument for a second, what would have happened to Josh Allen had his defense done to the Chiefs what the Eagles just did to them? Like, if Buffalo's defense rocked up and absolutely wrecked Kansas City the way the Eagles just did, what would Josh Allen have done in that game? Like that, you have to think about these things rather than just like unfilter release whatever nut job is in your brain into the...
You don't have to. You just unleash the Shouty Show takes. That's why we're here. All right, what do we have next?
Are we 11 years old?
I know. Who gives a rat's
Oh, my God. Could I give 2 farts, 2 Fs about your effing birthday? I don't give 2 craps about my birthday. Your birthday. Are we talking about, was that a 4th grade football game last night?
I think so.
How much did I have to hear about the effing kid's birthday? Who cares?
It's never happened. Saquon's birthday.
Who cares? Who cares?
They gave him a cake.
These are grown-ass men. I don't care about your birthday. I don't.
It's a triple winner.
I don't know your birthday, Maz. I don't know anyone's birthday. I don't want to know. I don't want you knowing mine.
August 5th.
6th.
See? That's pathetic.
Those are my guys. Those are my people. The
Your
people
Boston
were asking
radio.
for Boston radio. Little did we know that we already had them. I was just on with Felger and Maz on Friday, and appreciate those guys.
I mean, that was very Mad Dog-like, right? Just getting
Oh,
mad at the most irrelevant, random things.
Felger we could get him once a week. He has an epic. Oh, we got to find this one. He has an epic streaming service rant. It rolls it all in there. I think I showed it to you. Anthony, can you find Felger's streaming service rant? It was incredible. I want to play it sometime on the show because I kind of agree with most of it, but it's so good. It's so boomer and awesome. So it was Saquon's birthday and also Cooper DeJean's birthday on Sunday, in case you didn't know.
Yeah. And apparently that's
Michael
something to
Felger.
get mad at.
Uninterested.
I mean, look, to be fair, we were at the game and didn't listen to the broadcast. Maybe they were talking about it every 6 seconds, and that would get quite annoying. But
I have no idea.
From our vantage point, okay, it was their birthdays. They had big, they won a Super Bowl, et cetera, around their birthdays. DeJean had an argument to be Super Bowl MVP on his birthday. I mean, these are at least noteworthy things. I don't know if I'd hang a broadcast around them, but I'm okay with bringing it up,
I can't believe this is the first time Felger made it here. Made
Certainly
it on the
with
show.
quality work like that.
Him and Mass, they've got some good ones.
I also can't
Red Sox
believe
brand.
are we really going this Super Bowl defeat, autopsy without do we have a Nick Wright clip in here, or has he somehow avoided this?
I think he just, wore it. They had a little, parade celebration thing that he had all planned for the three-peat that they still played. I mean, he just kind of wore it. All right. What's our last one here today?
I'll tell you what it was. It's long. I'll tell you what the pregame is. Tedious. And I know they don't care. But again, now they continue each year to extend this thing out and basically push the bounds of decency more and more and more and make it feel less like a ball game. I've come to detest the Super Bowl because it doesn't feel like a football game. By the time the game comes, you already said, all right, I can't even think about it anymore. How much can you take? Let's play football.
Missed the days when it was a ball game.
Pushed the bounds of decency, and he's come to detest the Super Bowl. Were two phrases that came out of the man's mouth there.
I have a solution. Don't turn on the TV until 6:30 Eastern time.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
There's the ball game. That's all you need.
Right. It's
They
like,
might,
yeah,
they
I'm
might
sure-
have it. They might have a song before it. They might make you hear the national anthem.
Right.
But after that, ball game.
It's like, yeah, I'm sure that the pregame shows have become pretty unwieldy at this point. Though, again, these are things we're generally not exposed to in the last couple of years because we're moving to the stadium or whatever. But like, there's a pretty easy solution to that. Just don't watch it. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I haven't watched pregame shows in forever. I don't want to hear.
I don't watch the pregame shows
yeah.
to the regular NFL weekends, right? Because those things drive me nuts. Like, I just don't turn on the TV until 15 minutes before the game. It's simple.
Solved. Watch golf. There's usually some sort of, golf tournament, waste management's going on, Sunday final round or something. You just watch that till 6:30 Eastern. That's all you got to do.
Do whatever you need to do. Like, watch anything, right? Throw on anything else. Go do your chores, eat a meal, do whatever. It's very simple. Yes.
This is the college fan that says there's too many bowl games.
Right.
It's great.
Like, I don't need 5
Pretend
hours
it's
of
tennis.
pregame show.
Don't watch.
Right. I don't need 5 hours of pregame show. So just don't watch 5 hours of pregame show.
Maybe you only want an hour. Tune in at 5:30. There's ways around this.
Mm-hmm.
That was good though, Princess. Yeah, so we don't have any Nick Wright here. I think he just kind of took his medicine and that was it.
They must. Can you imagine how much the people on FS1 were the ratings for that, right? Here's Nick Wright coming in the day after an embarrassing Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl beatdown after spending literally years trolling everybody else about the Chiefs' greatness. Like, that's Christmas. That's whatever the ratings equivalent of Christmas is, right? We get to, like, everyone is tuning in for that.
So that's what goes against my argument, because I don't think that the average fan of, the other 31 teams cares about Nick Wright's fandom, right? I don't think so. But they care when they lose. So it is probably a ratings bonanza, because everybody loves watching someone else miserable. Everyone loves that. So people tuned in for him to be miserable. Oh, there's Felger's streaming rant. I can't wait to listen to it again. We won't have it here for the show, but it's good. It's really good. Anyway, Shouty Shows, they're back. Award-winning segment. Good to have it. And good to be back in our routine here, Sam.
It's a good point in the chat that the Super Bowl is the ratings equivalent of Christmas. Well, this was the Super Bowl twice then. They had the actual game, and then they got Nick Wright the next day. Both Super Bowls.
Doubled up on it.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.